Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Da dun 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 dun. Yeah, I need theme music. I I probably do. I probably do. Welcome to another Getting Project Done with me, Chris. We're continuing our work on the SwampBoss SkumDrekk, whatever the hell that is. A SkumDrekk, apparently. But that's what we're working on. Excuse me. Kim, there he is. Yeah, I'm here. Just getting a little bit behind schedules. So, little spoiler for everybody. It's not really a spoiler, but next week I will not be doing any streaming as I will be out of town. It's highly unlikely I'll do any kind of streaming. I might just do random crap. Who knows? But yeah, we're heading out. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Just in case there's any goblins watching me and spoiling plans. But anyway, yeah, just a bit of a spoiler for you guys. Anywho, yeah, we're continuing work on the SkumDrekk. I have not worked on anything since last time, so there is a whole bunch of this guy to get finished. I think what I'm doing right now at this moment is I'm basically kind of just blocking out this guy and pretty much laying out how I want to go about painting this whole figure. And I have not really given much thought as far as what I want to do as far as, oh, sorry, I'm bumping stuff here. I'm just moving my lights around. I haven't really given much thought as far as what I want to do for the rider, the SwampBoss. As far as his colors, and I don't know if I want to echo his color scheme as far as the beast is concerned. But yeah. So we got time to think about it. Anywho, last we left off, we were working on just applying some snakebite leather to this. Getting a nice leathery value down. I think I'm going to add another layer though, just for gigs. Just for giggles. I know, I don't hear any giggling, but that's what we're doing. Right? So we're going to throw some snackbite leather on this guy. This is really just going to go up near where the straps kind of meet the buckles, as it were. I think so, yeah. But that's about it. Just getting more crap done. Just trying to get the stuff done. Now, honestly, I'm not sure why, other than for your own entertainment, I can't really see my screen while my mic is right here. I'm going to adjust this. Yeah, there we go. Is that a little bit better? Well, for me anyway. Yeah, I'm just going to get this guy done. I have no idea, if I'm going to continue doing more of these guys or what, or, so who knows? See if it's just as fast to wipe it with my finger. Not really. There we go. looking to do is just crease some of the shadows on some of these areas. This color. That's really about it. So we created a hard line there. And just feather that off, just like so. Yeah. There we go. Let's get a little bit of a transition going there. Contrast paints are so much fun in this regards that you can just quickly feather something off. I'm pushing this tone along the short edge just so that it has a bit of visual breakup. You know what I mean? So you can kind of see that harsher line there. You can see the lighter values. Oi, who's joining me? Oh, Barford Sheep. There he is.
Hello.
What's happening? Oh, I got it on mute. Sorry, I had it on mute. I always leave it on mute because I usually end up, whenever I fire up Discord and I have music playing, Discord likes to tell me, you're playing music. You can't play music.
Okay.
Anywho, how are you?
No, I'm doing quite good. How are you?
I'm not unwell.
Good. Yeah, we're having some funky thunderstorms where I live.
Oh yeah?
In all sorts of colours.
All sorts of colors.
Oh yeah, had big purple lightning striking down right next to my house.
Really?
So obviously I had to go outside.
Well, obviously. I think that was obvious, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I'm going to do the teeth. I think in a darker brown. I think I'm going to go with a mostly purplish pink tongue. And I think the purple, the pink and purple values, I think I'm going to add into the recesses and shadows of the flesh. Yeah. I think that's what I want to do. So, what does that mean? I don't know. I think I'm going to use contrast. Let's start off with Voluptuous Pink. One of my favorite colors to use. There it is. Slap it on the mixer and get her going. Kim, if you want it a bit darker than 2 parts Snakebite, 1 part Wildwood. Yeah, that would be good. We'll make a nice shadow. More Cruel Boys. Like getting into Age of Sigmar with them as an army. Oh, cool. Yeah, you're going to do a whole army of Cruel Boys? That's cool. Kim, you got to do some Deepkin too, right? But they are a lot more work to do. Yeah, well, I do have a bunch of Deepkin to get to continue my work on. I have a bunch of, like my troops sitting on my bench here. I have one completed one, and he was more or less like a test for the color scheme. And so this duder here is basically my test. Straightforward. It's nothing terribly fancy, so that I could get an army of them done. I just haven't gotten around to completing the unit yet. Now, mind you, I mean, on camera here, it throws quite a bit of blue on him. It's not really that blue, I suppose, but yeah. And honestly, I don't quite remember what I did for the trim, the lighter blue. I want to say it's Temple Guard blue, but I could be wrong about that. I could be. I more than likely am wrong. But anyway. Alright. So we grab some Voluptuous Pink. And it's thoroughly mixed. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to thin this down just a little bit. Actually, I'll use some medium. Where's my medium? There it is. Sorry, arm was in the way. Actually, let's give it a mix. Even the mediums Should give them a quick little mix. Alright. Just take some voluptuous pink. Yeah. Let's throw a couple drops down on my palette. Just a couple drops. 1, 2. Just 2 drops. And then we're going to take one generous amount of voluptuous pink. No, more generous than that. Yeah, there we go. About halfway up the bristles. And then give that a good mix. It's kind of bubbly just because the vortex mixer really shook it up.
That is the GW medium, contrast medium.
Yeah, it's the contrast medium, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I like using the contrast medium for the most part when simply just thinning the contrast paint down. Just to, you know, obviously to thin it, but also I want it to continue to act like contrast paint. So that's why I use the medium over water. Water breaks that surface tension of the paint and it stops flowing like it normally does, right? Doing all the contrast things that we like contrast paint to do. It's at a certain point that you, when you're using water, that it will break that quality.
Have you tried using other acrylic thinners?
Yes, sometimes I do. I'll use like Liquitex Flow Aid.
Yeah, tried and true.
Yeah, well, because I use that often when I want to break a color into a shade wash, and I'll use whatever opaque color, and then I'll use my Liquitex Flow Aid to make a shade wash of it. And in that instance, it kind of just becomes like contrast paint. Not 100%, but sort of. It acts like that. It flows into recesses and, you know, does all the things that we like contrast paint to do. So all I'm doing is I'm just laying a little bit down and then feathering it off, just so that I'm not getting too harsh a transition in there. See, all I'm looking for is just a bit of a transition there. Not a huge transition. But you know what? Let's throw a little bit here along the central detail, whatever this is, this little thingy on his neck. So if you're really, really fast, you can throw a little bit down like that. And then you quickly just feather off the edge. Don't let the color build up too heavily. You can just feather that off, and it'll create a slight little gradient when you feather it. Feathering is a really, really fun technique to play with. It's a fast, easy way to just create slight transitions on a surface. Now, of course, we can always increase the amount of times we lay these colors down, and then, of course, the color just simply builds every time, right? But, yeah. Lay a little bit down like that. Quickly rinse my brush. Or if you had two brushes with you, you could do just quickly a little feather out of the color. I'm going to try and work some sort of neat. Try not to bump any other areas. But yeah. You see kind of... And all this pink is doing is just giving it the flesh a little bit more life. Just a bit. And also because the reddish values, once we start getting into the cloth and we create that edge highlight, we'll go with brighter turquoises. Turquoisey? Anyway, that'll frame very nicely in there. It'll create nice separation. The bronze, the beginning of our copper, it looks really intense right now, but once we start throwing the verdigris on it, it'll get toned down quite a bit. All right, let's see if we can get into the nooks and crannies here. all about the nooks and crannies. A quick little feather. That is it. Yeah, miniature painting. It's not terribly difficult. Once you're used to a lot of concepts and ideas, and really that's the area which a lot of people struggle with, is, you know, these concepts of how color acts on a surface and how we perceive color. So the fun part next is the head. How do I want to build this? I'm going to build it along these details. Just kind of like that, and around his face, maybe around his nose. I don't want to go too far with how far I'm pushing the color, because I want to quickly be able to feather off and create some transitions.
Take my money. This is Thermalicious.
Thermalicious. Thank you, Thermalicious, for the super chat. Am I on YouTube right now? Son of a bitch. I did not mean... I knew I forgot a setting. Shit.
Oh, hello, YouTube.
What's that?
Hello, YouTube.
Yeah, hello, YouTube. Normally I post this stuff on YouTube afterwards. I didn't realize it was streaming right to YouTube right now. It's usually a little setting I do. I usually have it separate from Way of the Brush and the YouTubes. So, yeah. Today, I'm streaming on YouTube for whatever reason. So again, we're just going to lay a little bit of color down, just like that. And feather it off. Just give us our transition, allowing it to pool up into some of those little areas, and just giving us some nice color variation there.
So usually I would do that with the Carbon Crimson, Arrowberg Crimson rather.
Carbon
Crimson? Do you get any different results if you use contrast? Because it has more juice to it.
Carbon Crimson is more like, it's a similar thing. This has more of a magenta value versus Carbon Crimson, which has more of a darkness to it. It's a very, very heavy saturated color. But you can still do a very similar thing as this. If you were using Shade Wash to do this, I would highly recommend you use Lamian medium to thin the Shade Wash down. You could still use, if you picked up contrast medium, you could still use contrast paint or contrast medium to do this kind of shading. You're not going to hurt nothing by doing it. And again, I mean, like if you had other brands of like translucent color like this, you could also achieve it with that as well. So you can see it's quite heavy when I first initially lay it down, but then really
Then you feather it out. And
it pulls a lot of the color out of the area, and that's fine, because I would rather always build up to an effect rather than just being really heavy-handed and trying to allow the shade wash or the contrast paint, whatever it is I'm working with, to complete the results. So if you've been listening to me for any length of time, and you know I'm talking about people's paint work or paint jobs, when I tell them not to rely on shade wash to achieve their desired end results, this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Is where you just take the contrast paint and just slap it on and let the chips fall where they may, kind of thing. Whereas with the contrast here, we're being very, very deliberate as far as where we're applying it and in what intensity. And as long as you work in baby steps like this, you can build up to your desired effect without, too much concern, as it were, right?
Yeah, you can always add more, but really hard to take off.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thinking, right? It's easier to slowly build up to the effect rather than screw up and then, try and correct.
There's more pigment in the contrast, isn't there?
Um,
Or
that's a tough one. Yeah, because like Carbo Crimson is a very very dark color. All those shade washes were designed to get very very dark in recesses, right? And contrast paints is sort of the similar thing, but not in the sense that they don't get too dark in the recesses. They just simply get more saturated in the recesses. So really, it's more a saturation thing than actually building shadows, right? Because when you slap like even a color like Volplu's pink on a surface, it'll give you it when you do it in a heavy-handed motion, like the way Games Workshop recommends to do it. It looks like Emperor's Children with a shade wash of Carbo Crimson. If you apply it very heavily, that's what you kind of get. Well, actually, it's more like Screamer Pink, I suppose, with a shade wash on top. Because really, the contrast paints are more like a base coat and a shade wash in one step. They often tote the ability to get your highlights and your shadows and your base tones all in one go, and for the most part, it does do that. But for me, the real strength is the ability of it to give you a base coat and a shade wash in one step.
Exactly, that's what I use it for.
Yeah, and that's what it was mainly made for, is that kind of work, to just get your army done, get painting, and make it happen, right? Old Jolly. The base layer is so important to contrast paints. A contrast over gray versus white will give different look. Yes, yeah, 100%. Kim, it is on YouTube. Yeah, I know. I realize that now because Thermicus super chatted. Kim, Army Painter has been teasing that they too are making a contrast style paint. Sure. Scale 75 did it. I don't know how successful it was. I'm sure it was pretty good. I seen some demos of that. It wasn't quite like contrast paints, but whatever. Kim, so that's one more. I have a full contrast line from GW. I got most of the instant potions from Scale Color and some a bit thesis line from War Colors. A bit thesis? I don't know what from War Colors. Anyway, so if Army Painter is making a line, I will have to get some to try. I like all three of the other brands for different jobs. Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's fine having these other options available, like ready-made options. But I mean, like if you have a line of transparency colors, and they're water-based acrylics, and you have the one product. Gee, my work area is so crowded. I keep mine. This is Liquitex Flow Aid. I just keep it in this little dropper bottle because it just makes it easier for doing consistent ratios and stuff like that, right? So, but if you have that and any water-based acrylic paints, whatever it is, and you have Liquitex Flow Aid, you can make any color to act like contrast paints. Doesn't matter what paint line it is, if it's water-based acrylics. Damn. I'm wondering if this video that's on YouTube right now, I'm wondering if it's showing up as a way of the brush. Probably is. Yeah, it's showing up as a way of the brush. I am going to have to correct that, because I'm streaming simultaneously to YouTube's right now. So this is messing with me, kids. This is messing with me. Should be able to go here. I wonder if I go here. Can I change this stuff midstream? Ugh. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to change this couple of settings here. Kids, anybody who's watching on YouTube currently, I am monkeying with it. So hopefully nothing gets screwed up. I'm just going to grab that. Grab that. We'll grab that for now. Let's edit this. Bang. Boom. Bang. Get rid of all that. Don't need that. Yeah, we'll do that. Oh, I probably shouldn't do that right now. Shit. I think I messed something up. It's usually one thing I usually end up forgetting. There's always something. When I'm about to start a stream, it's always one damn thing I forget to do. And I forgot to change this over. Son of a bitch. Anyway. Oh yeah, and +2 I can I can see the chat now. Oh, I guess I gotta start my other program here. Allows me to see both chats. Ugh. Okay. Now I can see both chats from YouTube and Twitch. And yeah, we'll do that. That. Alright. Well, at least the title's correct now.
Yeah, it looks okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't say where the brush.
Yeah, it doesn't say where the brush anymore. So anyway,
No.
yeah. +2, I couldn't spam this crap in Facebook and Instagram because apparently they're having an outage. So, boo earns.
Noticed.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's really broken up about that.
Yeah, what am I going to do now in the loo? Just stare at shampoo bottles?
Yeah, pretty much, right? I don't know about you, but I do a lot of like watch like TikTok or shit like that on the crapper.
I managed to avoid that app.
TikTok, yeah,
Yeah.
it can be toxic at times. Just a little bit. Uh-oh, who's joining us now? Oh, it's Mr. Grimm. What's happening, buddy?
Nothing much. Oh. Just being amused by today. Yeah, the various theories going on about Facebook and such.
Oh, yeah.
Mostly how some people are like, oh god, whoever has Facebook is just possibly downloading information. I'm just like, well, it is what it is, whatever.
Well, I mean, it's kind of funny that both, like, I'm not much of a conspiracy theory kind of guy anymore. But it is kind of funny that, there was that interview last night about the whistleblower, and now all of a sudden Facebook is down and Instagram.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, that's everybody who's of a conspiracy mindset is on about at the moment. It's hilarious.
Like, their servers is like, I wonder, they're just taking bets whether it's Russia or China just randomly.
Oh, wouldn't be Russia, because Russia, like, again, if I was very conspiracy theory minded, Russia has a lot to gain by keeping Facebook in business.
True.
Because so much disinformation is shared on Facebook, and that has been an active thing for the last couple of years now. This information battle, right?
Indeed.
If I was really into my conspiracy theories. Of which I am.
I was about to say, you'd have to elaborate on the anymore part. I mean, what information on there can they not grab that is already out there? is my thinking. We're all bound, anyways.
The main
If
one
people want your information, they'll get it.
Yeah, like the main one people are freaking out about, like, oh no, phone numbers and like email addresses. I'm like, well, that's unfortunate. That's why I never give my phone number to anything like other than my insurance company where they physically force me to if I want insurance.
Yeah.
You still find it, probably.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who the ATM are, but you know, people will find it.
Might as well make it a bit harder, I suppose.
Yeah, that's fair. Make them dig.
Yeah, you don't want to make it easy. But yeah, nothing is really secure on the internet anyway.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about a friend of my brother's. I guess it'd be deemed a conspiracy theory when you talk to him about certain things. He says leave your phone outside because the government might be listening through the microphones.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, well, it's your house, your rules. You do you, buddy. Nice fellow, but just that always struck me. I'm like, huh, that's a new one to me.
Well, see, the thing is, and I don't want to add any kind of credibility to his case, but I've experienced things on the internet, or like with my phone. Like, for example, I'll be sitting talking with my daughter about something. We noticed this one day, and we were talking about something really obscure. Then all of a sudden, we were both getting ads about something similar to what we were talking about the day before.
Google's is paying attention. Google knows all.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's like,
Things can happen.
yeah, it was just kind of funny because we were laughing about it, and then we kind of did it as like an experiment to see, and sure as shit, yeah, we started seeing ads that were kind of like, hey, that's a little weird. We were just talking about that. Isn't that funny?
I think by far the most amusing ad I had. I guess I was talking about like military history with Eldari or something, because the next day or something on, I think it's Facebook, maybe it's Google, was like, hey, do you want to go to military academy in Canada? I'm like, wait, what? Where'd this come from?
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead.
It's
I
like,
have
I'm
fun
not,
in service.
it's like, I'm not Canadian, I'm from the South United States.
You're a Florida man.
Indeed. Honorary Florida man.
Look, the concept of Florida man.
I wonder if anything else has happened other than capturing and releasing a crocodile in a garbage can.
Well, I just want Florida man to just be this entity.
Well, dang. This escalated quickly. Apparently about less around an hour away from me, or like less so, someone got shot over a parking space.
Yep. Totally seems reasonable. Seems like a completely reasonable reason to shoot somebody.
Which area? Because most of that, like, there are certain areas in this city you don't go to, but it didn't sound like it's from the baddest part of the city. That's weird. That's unfortunate too.
Yeah,
I like funny Florida man, not murderous Florida man.
Not people eating each other's faces.
Or murdering each other over corn dogs. That's a good one. Oh yeah, that was a fun from about a month ago. Apparently someone drove naked through 7 toll booths and got arrested for indecent exposure because it was all caught on camera somehow.
Did he pay for the toll?
I have no idea. It looked like they're the ones like on the interstate. So I'm like, how are you driving with indecent exposure like that? That sounds like a bigger question here.
He was driving in a car. Or was he on like a motorbike where he could be indecently exposed?
Let's see if it specifies. Like, You know, the motorbike thing would make more sense than the car, because it'd be much easier to tell.
If he was in his car, I'd say you do you, man.
Doesn't specify his driving. It just says that he was, quote, unclothed and showing his privates to the toll booth.
Nice.
Well, we must be a proud Florida man.
Seems about right.
Thermicus, yeah. What am I going to do without an hour of Boomer book? Heretic Scott, howdy. Oh, he's on. Howdy.
I'm curious if there are any more random theories about the Facebook thing.
Oh, I'm sure there's all sorts. You aren't not going to find them on Facebook.
Oh.
The source of the conspiracy theories, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I think one I saw earlier today, which I'm sure is not helping the conspiracy theories side of things, like, I think it's Edward Snowden or something, posted like, basically, I think it's Twitter, it's like, oh, Facebook is down, whatever will we do? I'm like, wonder what that's gonna, wonder what's gonna spawn out of that one.
Basil, there he is. Hello, Chris. Hello, Basil.
I'm the one that makes up some names too. It's the hardest part about being a teacher. See, okay, this can either this is pronounced differently whether you're Cajun, Spanish, or English. I can't tell based on name which it is.
Oh, excuse me. Heretic Scott, creepy looking thing. Is it Age of Sigmar? Yes, it is Age of Sigmar. It is a newer kit called the SwampBoss on SkumDrekk. I went for the unhelmeted iteration of the beastie, and yeah. So I'm just playing with color at the moment here, just kind of building up value and the shadows and such, just trying to see how far I want to push color.
The faces, the more I look at the face, the more it looks like a pig alligator hybrid to me.
Yeah.
The noble steed of Florida man.
Yeah.
Hey, those pigs are deadly, yet delicious if you get them first.
You say vicious or delicious?
I said they're both.
Oh.
Yeah, racing pigs is not that fun.
Is that personal experience?
It is actually.
Hey,
I did 3 years of agricultural studies.
pigs in undergrowth can be quite agile for their size. Especially when there are idiots involved.
Don't imagine in Florida you got a shortage there.
Considering in most painful areas, they're in the middle of nowhere, they have to put up signs saying do not shoot the animals. Including cows. Because people are like, yes, surely shooting a cow with a little ball of paint will not piss it off, possibly have it, like, gorge you or something. Or have the farmer come after you, I suppose. Depends on the area.
I was about to ask if it was wild pigs, but you answered my question.
Yeah, they're wild pig. No, they're in the backwoods where they paintball. They're wild pigs there too.
Okay.
There's at least one time someone thought it'd be a fun idea in the middle of a game to shoot the pig with a paintball. They kind of had to stop the game as everyone was running for their lives from the pissed off pig.
Yeah, they have some pretty strong jaws.
Indeed.
They will make a hole.
Most of them could be traced back to the conquistadors and stuff too. At least the more vicious ones, as I recall.
Oh, jeez. Let's drop the brush. You guys working on anything, or are you guys just hanging?
Relaxing.
I got myself a skinny Stormcast that I'm painting.
Oh, from the new box?
Yes.
Cool.
And she's looking fab.
Heretic Scott just had a look at the model. Looks like a big one. Yeah, he's kind of big. I mean, here's the rest of them. And then there's a dude who sits here. And then there's some arms with cages that come across. So, yeah. He's a fairly big guy. His head goes like right there-ish. So, yeah. I didn't want to do him in the dark scheme that you see on the art. I wanted to do something sort of fun. So I think Albino Pig Monster is pretty much how we're going to go with this guy. I think. Now that I've deepened up his face, I kind of want to do a little bit more now on the sides of him. Yeah, I did a little bit more on the center. Just because I was doing underneath his neck kind of thing. So I think I want to do a little bit more there. Just a little bit. Just to push that intensity a bit. Maybe around the ropes. Maybe the ropes are irritating his skin. Maybe that's what it is. The ropes are bugging this poor piggy.
That's a good idea.
Maybe the poor pig is just like, fuck it, just get me these fucking ropes off me, man.
I imagine that's the type of thing that if the orc falls off, they'll just turn around and eat the orc.
Yeah, probably, right? A little bit more color happening. Like that comes down too far. Yeah, something like that.
Is it just me, or do these new Cruel Boy models, the big ones, do they seem a bit cheap for their size?
Cheap?
Yeah, as in I would expect, since there's so much plastic, that they would be a bit more dearer.
I don't know. I haven't really looked at them.
Yeah, I don't know. Here's the rider. I mean, like, the rider is supposed to have a cage over his face. I haven't attached that yet because I want to be able to paint his face and then put the cage on. But I mean, I don't know. Like, they're well detailed, and you know, there's lots of like undercuts and stuff like that. Like, it's not like he's cast from a single part. The details are good. I mean, the wood has detail, the leather has, you know, texture, and I don't know. Like,
Cheap as in money, as in you get more for your buck.
oh no, that hasn't been the case in a very long time.
Okay.
As far as, like, you know, value per
Yeah, Kim,
purchase.
that's exactly what I'm saying. The kits seem less expensive because they're from Norwegian prices.
Yeah.
They do seem. Yeah, they do seem like they're usually they would, like, say 2 years ago there would be a bit more.
Yeah, I can't speak to that. Other than, I mean, like, It's why you hear so much bitching from a lot of, old school painters and gamers and stuff. Is like when I got into this hobby, into Warhammer 40,000, I used to get 30 Space Marines for like $20 for a box set. That was way back in the day. And, the scalps were all right. Back in the day, they were pretty kick-ass. We thought so anyway, but,
They have their charm.
Yeah, like the old Mark 6 Imperial Space Marines. Yeah, that was like 30 in a box for like $20. Blister packs of the old pewter models back in Rogue Trader days used to get 5 in a blister pack of pewter models. So, yeah. Fire Drake 18, what's all this? A stream? We painting live? My stars. Yeah, normally I do this on Twitch, Fire Drake. I usually post this stuff on the YouTubes, it's pretty much like a week later. So I forgot to change a setting, so that's why I'm showing up on YouTube live today. It's because I forgot. I forgot. Fire Drake, and those scalps were of premium lead as well. Yeah, they were premium lead back in the day as well. Yeah. Lead. Might explain why I am the way I am, but yeah.
I remember. I think it's a family friend gave my brothers when they got to D&D early on some of the original lead models. And as a kid, I didn't really think about. So they're just like, yeah, these are the original models. Just don't touch them, and you'll be fine. Like, what? Yeah, these aren't your models. Okay. I was never allowed to touch them because I wasn't trusted.
Right. Yeah.
It's for my own good. I had no reason to doubt them, but now I know why. My brothers are mostly sane.
Kim, a kit that size would normally be $70 to $80 at least, and it is 54. So I feel Crew Boy kits are bigger for less. Okay.
Yeah.
Heretic Scott, there's people my age that bitch about the hobby, and I ask why they bother doing the hobby. Yeah, exactly, right? Like if you're gonna just keep bitching about this stuff, then why are you still doing it? Unless, of course, you just like the bitch, And that doesn't make sense either.
I smell a little bitch, boy.
Yeah, like why sit around and complain about shit? Like, do you get some sort of satisfaction from it? Like that makes zero sense to me. Zero. Fire Drake, lead's good for you. Puts hair in your chest. I don't know about that. Old Jolly. When I started playing the Codex, literally said to use homemade or proxy models. LOL, how GW has changed. Yeah, of course, right? Times change. Basil, are you starting a Cruel Boys army? I don't know because there's a unit that comes in the Dominion box, and Ash wanted to do a trade because he wants one of the units, and they're not available yet. So I don't know. Last time we were talking, yeah, he wanted to do a trade. So yeah.
What unit is that?
I can't remember. It was one of the units. It's a bunch of little duders.
Oh, the Hoplites.
Yeah, one of those things. Anyway, he wanted to do a trade, and so I was like, oh, okay. And yeah, we haven't done that yet, though. I haven't talked to him in a couple weeks, so yeah. Anyway, Heretic Scott, Sotek Green, one of my favorite colors. Yes, this is one of my favorite colors. So basically, what I'll demonstrate right now for you, Barfing Sheep. I'm sure you've probably seen me do this 100 times in any of the tutorials, but I'll do it here live anyway. So I'm going to take Sotek Green, and I'm going to take a fairly generous amount. Here's my hairless arms. I'm going to take a generous amount of Lamian Medium. It's probably about 3-4 drops. And then I will add a drop of Flow Aid to it. And I'm going to make a wash because I am going to oxidize the bronze bits on the monster. So take yeah. See, here's why I recommend mixing your medium. So you can see there's a little goopiness at the bottom here. It's clear, but it is there. So something does separate in the mediums. So give your mediums a very thorough shake before you use them. It's not as bad as, you know, other paints, but yeah. And I think every paint line out there, yeah, see now it's nice and clear now at the bottom. See, there's no goopiness. It's kind of hard to see under the bright lights, but anyway. Yeah, I think every paint line, they should produce or sell their binders, their mats, their gloss, everything. Just to complement their paint lines. But anyway. Kim, the bolt skewer boys. He needs them to fill out the unit. They're some of the best units in the army, so you're doing a Cruel Boys army, then you don't trade them. Yeah, I mean, like, the Cruel Boys are really cool. But yeah, I don't know if I'll start an army of them. Same with like the Stormcast. I really like the Stormcast models, but I don't know if I'll start an army of them. Same with Space Marines. I mean, Space Marines is the same thing. Especially with, you know, the rumors of Eldari getting an update soon with some new kits. You know, my meager resources are probably going to go to that. Heretic Scott, you got the baby smooth skin, Chris? Yeah, I'm not hairy. I mean, like here, if anybody who wanted to have a close-up of my arm, of what my skin, there you go. See? No hair. We're almost all the way to my elbow there. I know, this is what everybody was wondering. See, that's my elbow, right? You can see, like, no hair. Of course, in the back of my hand, there are some hairs. And on my knuckles. And, of course, no hairy palms. Surprisingly. Yeah, I know. Surprising. Not hairy palms. So anyway, let's take some Lamy medium. We've already mixed up our Sotek green. And we're going to use a drop or two of Flow Aid. So I'm just going to take a couple drops here. Let's do 4. And one more for good luck. Take a little bit of the Sotek green. Yeah, about that much. Not much is needed because we're pretty much just going to chuck it right in. And of course, we're going to add a drop of Flow Aid. I'm going to add 2 drops just for giggles. And then we give it a nice thorough mix. We have plenty here. I'm going to apply this like a shade wash on the figure. So I'm going to apply it fairly generously. I'm also going to take probably a generous amount of water. Yeah, take a generous amount of water, just like that. And then throw that in as well. We're going to apply it onto the armor and all the little details as well. Yeah, we might as well just use this brush. Alright. So you guys can kind of see what I'm doing here. And then basically we're just going to go bang, bang, and bang. This is going to knock all that shine right out of that bronze. Because it's a little bit heavy, I'm just going to use my brush and draw some of it out. Kind of like feathering. I don't want to pull it away too much because I do want some of it to pool in recesses, like at this bolt head. Yeah, like that, right there. But yeah. Now, it looks really intense right now, but experience tells me that when this dries, it'll reduce down. It'll knock all that shininess right out. And yeah. This is often how I like to do patina on bronze and such. Let's pull some of the color out. Yeah, just so it's not too intense. Yeah. But this is how I like to begin the oxidizing of bronzes and coppers and metals and what have yous. Let's pull a little bit off the top of the bolt. Yeah, just like that, right there. So it falls into the recesses. But we're going to do this for all of the bits, all the metal bits. Really, all we're looking for is it to just build around the bolt heads and such, the chains. This brush might be a little big for this, actually. Yeah, it's a little bit big. Losing a little bit of control. Okay, we're losing a lot of control. But back to my original point is, yeah, once you have Liquitex Flow Aid in your toolbox, yeah, you can turn any color into a contrast. I have a little video. It was just a tip video, and it was, you know, explaining this pretty much. Get a little more on my brush. There we go. It's a lot. It's okay though. So we can always pull the excess off. Like so. Pull it off the bolt head. A little bit of the excess here. Yeah. Just like so. If I go quiet, it's because I'm concentrating. So don't talk to me.
Yeah, I got a question loaded up, but I'm waiting until you're done.
Oh, okay.
Also, Heretic's got a question for you.
I was mostly joking about not asking me questions. Feel free to ask questions. I just want to pull off some of this excess color here. I want it to fall within recesses, but not so heavily that it knocks out, you know, the metals. Just want it in the recesses. And if it's uneven, that's fine, because oxidization is not symmetric anyway, right? Unless, of course, it's heavily oxidized. But I don't want this to be heavily oxidized. I want it to look like it's, you know, used and weathered, but not that bad, right? Gives it like a little bit of realism, but not really. Oh, I forgot that buckle. Or whatever the hell this is. Harness piece. I don't know. We're making up things at this point. Also forgot to paint these things here on the ends of the ropes, or cowl, whatever the hell it is. Oh, and that piece too. Forgot that. Oh, and this piece too. All sorts of things we forgot to paint. But anyway, yeah. And then see, once we have the Sotek green on there, how it changes the overall feeling. You know, it felt quite dark before on the cloth and the armor, and now how we've kind of brightened that up, right? Of course, we're going to do the same thing with the cowl, or the cloth, whatever that is. We're going to shade it, but then we're going to use Sotek green, bring up highlights. Almost probably to Temple Guard blue. That far, really. We'll probably take it that far. So, questions? Fire Drake, might be better to start putting those resources to a 3D printer. Why? Because then then there's a whole learning curve to a 3D printer. I mean, it's not like I can just open the box, start printing. I mean, there's all sorts of calibrating. Then I got to get a bunch of the material, and then I got to find the files. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of work with 3D printing and time. It's a lot of time learning it. Like, 3D printing is a skill almost. It's a hobby itself, right? 3D printing is a hobby. I'm not knocking 3D printing. I'm just saying. It's not just as easy as opening up the box and then bang, you're in the game, right? There's a lot of tinkering involved.
It's so much easier when you just have a friend that 3D prints.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I might as well just go to my buddy who 3D prints and, just get the files off him and, save myself all that time and effort and work and, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Fire Drake, you broke the first law of streaming by not showing your feet. Apparently that's a thing you must do. By not showing my feet? I'm not showing. Am I showing my feet? I'm not showing my feet. I don't know what he means.
Did this become a Tarantino flick?
Huh?
Quentin Tarantino, his foot obsession in movies is a running joke.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not with it, so. Fire Drake, question. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? 2 cords. Heretic Scott, what are you using for the true metallic metal? It's warp lock bronze. It's a bronze. I'm going to bring it up to a copper, though. But yeah, it's warp lock bronze. That was the base. It was just an even layer of that. And then Sotek green on top. And you can see how it's drying now. You can see how it's reducing down. It's not as bright. It knocks a bit of the shine out. That's okay, because we're gonna hit it with. We might do another layer or touch up here and there. Again, we don't need it to be even. We just want it to fall within recesses and give us, that impression of that oxidization. It is not just a one step and done. If I really want to, we're going to add a little bit more here. I'll just take a little bit more. And I'll put it around this bolt head right here. I said around the bolt head. There we go. Yeah, like that. And I'm going to pull a little bit off the top of the bolt head. Just like so. Just like that. You know what? There's little bolts here. Let's do a little bit more here. Just like so. Let's get those. You know what? Let's get a little bit more in the creases too. Right? So that's typically where oxidization occurs and it builds, and again, it takes a little bit of observation as well, right? Where oxidization falls. In recesses and grooves, and just a little bit of observations, just to get that impression of not realism, but I don't like to use that realism phrase too often, just because obviously this is all made up fantasy stuff, but yeah,
As real as it can get.
Yeah, we use these techniques on the models to give us that impression of the realism, although it is not realistic. But it's because we see it, we know it in the real world, and when we see it on the surface, we know what that effect is representing, right? That's all. Thermicus, so apparently Facebook employees have been unable to get into the building. Stock was in the shitter, don't know about now. Oh, really? The stock has even taken a hit. Really?
Oh, yeah. I remember hearing about that earlier.
You remember about something you heard earlier. You're not like 80 years old. Your memory should be pretty good. You're a young man, for God's sakes.
That's Facebook. I don't tend to pay attention to news around Facebook.
It's like a Sotek shade. Yes, pretty much. Yeah, you can, as long as you have Liquitex Floyd, or I think Golden also has one. I can't remember what the hell it's called. some other names that some other companies go by is Flow Improver. I can't attest to if it's exactly the same, because I mean, like Liquitex Fluid, you can see it flows like water, whereas some of these other products that claim to be a flow improver, they flow more like Lamian Medium, which you can see it flows pretty light, but it's not like exactly like water. You would not confuse this for water. Versus Flow Aid, I mean, it's completely clear and it flows really, really thin, you know. So I can't say if it's exactly the same, because I'd hate to be giving advice to somebody and then, you know, it turns out, oh no, that's not the same thing, doesn't do the exact same thing, and then you know, somebody can't get the exact result in which I was demonstrating, right? So that's why I don't really comment on those kinds of things, because you just never know. I'd hate to steer somebody wrong. All right, I only need a little bit of this, so I'm just going to throw a little bit onto my palette, and I'm going to use some water just to break this down. Okay, not a little water. I mean, it's quite a bit of water I'm using there. And yeah. Forgot to darken up the color on this side of his skin. So we're just going to add a little bit more. It's quite a bit. I'm just going to feather that out. Just like so. There we go. Looks a little bit more even now. Just feather, feather, feather. Feather, feather, feather. So always remember, it's not about the paints you use, it's how you use them. A little bit of intense color there, right in his throat. Still don't know what I'm doing for his horns though. I kind of don't want to do them just, you know, the traditional dark brown. I'm trying to think of something interesting. Having a hard time with that though. Don't want that much color building up on that jawline like that. Yeah. Where am I in the comments? Fire Drake, I think the Amaranth Blue contrast paint and the Sotek Green are a good combination. They're pretty similar. The Amaranth Blue? I don't know, contrast paint that's Amaranth Blue. There's Levidon, Ultramarine.
Athermatic?
Ethermatic? Yeah.
Ethermatic, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the Ethermatic. Yeah, it's actually fairly light. And like if you were going to go for this oxidization on a copper using Ethermatic, you probably would have to use quite a bit because it's a transparency, right? And
I think it would be a bit too light for that.
Yeah, whereas Sotek Green, it's an opaque color, and so it goes on top, and it, you know, when it falls into the recesses, it builds, and it builds in intensity. Versus the Ethermatic, I get the feeling you'd have to lay quite a bit down to get that a look. Not saying it wouldn't work, it just, yeah, you'd have to lay quite a bit down. Winsor Newton makes a flow aid. Yeah, I've never used Winsor Newtons. I've only ever used Liquitex. And, you know, I mean, for $13, I bought it ages and 15 years ago. And I still have lots. And I still have like half a bottle over there somewhere. Where is my flow aid? I've only got like less than a quarter left in my flow aid. But yeah. Bought this.
That was a big bottle.
Yeah, well, it's not really that big. It's only 118 milliliters, 4 fluid ounces. But it was like $10 way back in the day.
It was big for the application.
Yeah, well, I only use it a drop at a time. You only need to add, like, even if I made a big mixture of it, like in a bowl or in a bottle, it would only take a couple drops to, you know, get the desired result where it'll flow into it breaks the surface tension, so it's just changing the surface tension, right? So that's all. Kim, some other hobby brands make good ones like War Colors. Sure. Thermicus, Facebook was almost taken off Apple App Store because of their child enthusiasm problem. Huh? I don't know about that. Greenleaf Terrain. How much for you to lay me down? Naked man time. Like some hot man on man action? Is that what we're talking about? Well, I don't know if we qualify for hot man on man action, Adam. But.
Also, we're on the wrong platform.
Oh yeah. Also, yeah. We got to save that stuff for the OnlyFans. We gotta make some OnlyFans content. All right.
Captain ideas.
Now, where is my... Oh, this is a good question. Where is my Nilic Oxide? Because I'm going to use Nilic Oxide, the technical. This is really, really fun. This is how I like to finish off quickly doing a bronze patina, right? Or a patina on bronze kind of thing. So I like to use Nilic Oxide, the technical. This is really, really fun. Essentially, this is just Sotec green if you add a lot of white to it. That's really all it is. But it's really, really liquidy, and it does kind of have that flow aid additive, so it falls within recesses, which is why this does such a good job for, you know, what we all use it for. And I was a little disappointed when GW did the Rise of Rust. I thought it was going to be the same thing as this Nilic Oxide. I thought it was going to be really liquidy and fall within recesses, and it don't. It's thick, like the Citadel Dry. And I was a little disappointed by that. Just a little. Not greatly. Just a little.
Another thing with the Oxider is it dries really matte compared to other GW products.
Oh yeah?
Mine does.
Yeah. Kim, the Winsor Newton Flow Aid is 125 milliliter and was $7. Okay. Fire Drag 18. Sewer green horns like radioactive. Just make them look radioactive? Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, bright green horns? I don't know. Again, I don't want to go just as typical, you know, brown spiky horns, but I'm kind of running out of options here. What up? But anyway, we're going to bust out the Nilic Oxide. And, yeah, so you can see it's a lot of fun. It's a really, really good one, especially if you're doing like a lot of bronzes and patinas. And I mean, it's not the only reason to use this color. I mean, any really clever people out there will use this in other applications and, you know, do other stuff with it. But yeah. Oh yeah, you said, Barfing Sheet, you said you had a question. What was your question?
It was answered.
Oh.
It was the metallic.
Oh, the true metallic? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just warp lock bonds.
Warp bonds. I haven't used that in such a long time that I couldn't even recognize it.
Yeah. It's one of my faves. I mean, it's even good for starting off as a gold. Like, it's better than
Yeah.
Balthazar gold. Yeah, just use it as part of your gold, because I mean, gold. You know, you can start gold off in very red tones. You can start it off in very brown tones. Shit, you can even use greens, dark greens, to shade it and, you know, start the process off. As a good starting point, you're still going to build upon it, right? But I mean, you know, yeah. All right, so Nilic Oxide. I think this is thoroughly dry by now. I think. Now with the Nilic Oxide, am I saying that right? Nilic? Nilic? Anyway, sometimes I will thin this down just a bit of water, just in case it gets a little too heavy. And usually, I apply this fairly deliberately. So I'll just take a little bit here. I'll throw it onto my palette. Grab just a little bit of water, just like that. Thin it down. Not much water, because again, I don't want to break that surface tension of the color. And then I will just carefully and deliberately apply it places. Just like so. Just kind of haphazardly, you know, so it's not uniform application. It's, you know, just deliberate. Just looking for particular areas for it to collect. Really, I just want it to be in like the darkest and deepest recesses, right? That's all I'm looking for. And that's kind of fun to kind of like dab it around, and especially if you have it in a thinned out fashion, you can just kind of slap it around, you know. But again, not too heavily, just being sort of deliberate with it. The fun part about Nilic Oxide is that it looks really intense when you first lay it on, but it loses a lot once it starts to dry. As long as you keep it sort of random, you'll get your desired result.
I've always felt like it dries with the amount of chalkiness that you want.
Yeah, it does. It like I said, it's a really good color, and for this task, it does a really good job, and it's kind of hard to beat it. Like if I was mixing a color to match this and do the same task using, like, say, Flow Aid, yeah, I'd be sitting here mixing, and you know, it wouldn't turn out the same, I'm sure, versus this already prepared, you know, version of it, right? Honestly, I'm just kind of going for the bottom ends of stuff, just to kind of, you know, give that impression of oxidization. And again, because I use it in a thinned out fashion like this, if it's not intense enough, I can just do another layer and just slowly build up to the desired results. Here, like there, I got way too much on there. So you just quickly wipe your brush off, dry it off, And just do it again. Did I get everything? That went by pretty fast. All right. Make sure it's closed. There we go. Alrighty. Where am I in these comments? Fire Drake. Maybe yellowish rotting effect like tooth decay. Does decaying calcium look like? Oh, like a yellowy tooth? Yeah. Yeah, like a yellowy teeth. Like on his horns and on his actual teeth. I think on his actual teeth, I'll go with almost to a white at the tips. But I think on the horns, yeah. Anyway, you can see how like we've already changed a lot of how that the bronze feels now, right? And how like the overall feeling on the figure, on this color scheme so far. And we haven't even done much. All we've been doing is just building up some shadows. Hey. And yeah, so I'm gonna start the cloth next. I'm gonna shade the cloth, and then we might get to some highlights. Now I do want the cloth to be still fairly dark. When I was mentioning earlier about the using like Temple Guard blue, now I'm starting to think that maybe I don't push it that far. And in fact, I might push the cloth almost to black at its shadowy points. I think. Just to keep it kind of interesting. But so far, yeah, he's kind of fun. And he looks more like a big, scary pig gator thing. He's a murder pig. It's a murder pig. Fire Drake 18, I use Nilic Oxide and Blood Red Technical for gems and shiny parts. I think it looks good applying it to silver metallic. It's like hitting the easy button. Yeah. I've never seen Nilic on top of a pure metal, so that's kind of interesting. Yeah. Greenleaf. WTF is that pig? I want some ham now. Yeah. What was it? Kit Dabuja. Man, I don't know what. Kit Dubika? Oh, hello. Finally caught you while I'm painting. Pigs are scary, yo. Wild boars are fierce. Yes, they are. Yeah, so let's start with the cloth. And let's... now, I could go with a black. Although black would be sort of boring. Oh, it's a Russian word. Kitobitsa. Kitobitsa? Literally killer whale. Oh, okay. I'm probably way off on that, but I'll just say Kitobitsa? Kitobitsa? Kitobitsa. Kitobitsa. I'll have to say it a few hundred times before I get it. Yeah, good enough. Man, that's words to live by right there. Good enough. That's good enough. All right. Yeah, I don't know if I want to use black. I could use brown. That would give give the cloth almost kind of a dirty quality. You know what I mean? Like it kind of it's kind of a dark turquoisey color, but it's got dirt kind of, ground into it kind of thing. That'd be kind of fun. Or we could just go pure color. We could just go pure color. No, not basilicum. Achillean green? Is that the dark turquoisey color? I can't tell. It's so damn dark. Oh, you know what? Yeah. Okay, you know what? Let's go with... I think we're going to go with Achillean green. I'm going to shade it with that. Angel. Hi. 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 Basil. Like in good. Ooh, like in good. Oh, okay, like good. So keto pizza. Man, Russian has so many different syllables, obviously from English, so many different sounds. It's kind of, you know, like it's like Mandarin or, you know, Swahili or something, right? I mean, like, you know, there's different sounds in all these different languages, right? And when you're not used to speaking them or using them, well, it's even like when you know, in Ojibwe, there's sounds in Ojibwe that are like, you know, just so different. I mean, every human can use them. It's just like, or do them. It's just, you know, it's not often. Anyway, enough excuses. Let's see. Yeah, that's mixed. So we're gonna use Sakelian green. I'm gonna shade the cloth bits. Fire Drake, man, bear, pig. Yeah, it kind of is like, it's because it's a four-limbed creature, right? And he's kind of got hands. He's got some wicked fingernails. Yeah. It does look like it could be like a dude in a monster suit or something, right? What is it? Keto Pizza. Butza. Butza are like good? So Keto Pizza? Butza?
Yeah.
What? I don't know.
I don't know. So, pizza.
Pizza?
Pizza. I don't know.
I don't know. You'd have an easier time, I think, with it because you're closer to Russia than I am. So
We border Russia in the north.
true. Fun fact: English th both in father and thing is stupidly rare sound that scares and confuses people. Really, it scares and confuses people. Interesting. See, people are talking on the YouTubes. I got all the chat. Normally, like on Way of the Brush, I have like the chat shows up at the bottom, but this isn't that kind of thing. Yeah. So Keto Pizza? Fuck, it's still fucking with me. All right. So with the Nilic Oxide mostly dry, I'm mostly happy with where that is. It looks really intense on camera. To the eye, it feels pretty natural until I give this a dry brush. Because I'm going to hit this with a dry brush just to catch the top points and finish off, you know, the look of the metal. We can always come back later and clean it up if need be. Some of these other details, you know, where like there's little details that are kind of blocked off, I'll probably just pick them out by hand. I mean, I could do it for the metal here, but it's just easier to just kind of use that dry brush and just catch that. But anyway, I'm going to use the Acrylic green, and we're going to shade on top of this dark turquoise color, which is Inky by Darkness. That's what that is. So we're going to use that to create our shadow values on that section. Basil. The pizza is like pizza, I guess, but with a B. Yeah, okay, so yeah, it's like pizza. So like pizza.
Keto pizza.
Yeah. Keto pizza.
Yeah,
It's a keto pizza. It's like keto,
Oh,
but keto pizza.
Pizza tastes horrible.
never had keto pizza. When I heard pizza, I just imagined someone trying to assault someone with a pizza.
I'm a pizza guy.
I mean, we're totally butchering the Russian language at the moment, but
I
I
mean,
like
I
what
sh-
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm just joking.
When I typed that in, Google's like, did you mean, the first thing that came up is, did you mean Beretta?
oh, jeez.
You know, it's like, do you want to look up Beretta handguns? I'm like, wait, what?
Wait, what?
I see there's a miscommunication here, Google, but okay.
Yeah. There we go. Let's darken that up a bit.
Oh yeah, because my area Google's like completely screwed up about how I'm trying to tell it.
Yeah. Well, Google recognizes you're in Florida and goes, "Oh, he must mean Beretta."
No, it's more like local restaurant pizza. Wait, there's a ghost kitchen. It's like, is this an actual ghost kitchen or just the name of a restaurant trying to be clever? attention, I guess.
A satka is not a dish. I'm reading the chat. I've heard of this kasatka. Oh, it is an orca.
Wait. Is this YouTube chat, I take it?
No,
No, it's on. It's
it's on Twitch.
Kibitze.
Gotcha.
Oh, I've heard of kasatka as a.
Oh.
Oh, somebody else joined in. Oh, killer whale. What's happening?
Kasatka.
We mentioned
Oh
the
my
killer
God.
whale, killer
It's like-
whale Pierce.
I didn't think my nickname would be so difficult to pronounce, but whatever. It's pizza. So basically, yes, keto pizza, but like animal.
Kubica. Kubica.
Oh my god.
I'm trying so hard. Well, I can say Idi Nachwe and Urod.
Seriously,
I don't know.
everybody can say this. Like, I swear to God, it's more of a unique thing when people don't start screaming Russian swear words at me to show off how cool they are.
I don't know Russian swear words. I've been told when I speak French, due to the way I say my S's, they think I sound Russian. I guess because the French associate long S's with Russia.
It's the weirdest thing I've heard. I have never heard this ever before.
What,
I
keto
actually-
pizza?
Are you Russian? I'm like, wait, no. Why you ask if I'm Russian? The way you say your S's make you sound Russian. I'm like, okay, I've never been to Russia.
I just love the fact that you have to come on just to rectify this whole mess that we're making. It's lovely.
We're just butchering Russian right now.
Oh yeah.
That's fine.
I'm not even trying.
I'm not trying to fuck up Russian, but you know.
I just like looking up Russian words now. It's convinced I'm about handguns now. So he must want a handgun. I'm like, not exactly Google, but okay.
To be fair, that's really weird because in Russia we have absolutely draconian gun laws.
Wait, oh, I know another Russian phrase. Пошли домой.
That means let's go home.
Yep.
Nice. It's not even a swear word.
Nope.
That's amazing.
Are you teaching us swear words? Is that what's going on here, Killer?
No, it's just that apparently everybody knows Russian swear words. It's like the common knowledge at this point. So I'm really surprised when people know Russian words that aren't swear words.
I don't know much Russian at all. My
I'm
army
trying to
buddy.
rack my brain for all my Russian.
I don't remember what the phrase was, but I remember an army buddy of mine said that if you learn Russian in the army, the first thing you learn is grenade get down.
Makes sense.
I mean, why wouldn't you learn it? Because it's a life-saving thing.
I guess if you're in the military, it is important knowing when there's a grenade thrown in your radius.
Yeah, a little bit. It's just sound advice.
The first Italian word I learned was gelato because that's what I ordered when I was a kid and my parents took me to Italy.
The first Italian.
Okay. To be fair, Italian ice cream really is bad good.
It is. First Italian phrase my brother learned was burn the state. Was burn the state because we were going to Italy that time is a bit more unstable than usual. Because I think at the time it is the Reds were up in their arms about something. I don't remember what. Thankfully we never got swept up in a riot, so we never had to yell at.
FireDrake 18, off topic. That Iron Man I painted was all Army Painter metallic. I mixed it with darker blue metallic and then red metallic and then mixed that fairy dust to highlight. Interesting. Fairy dust, is that a Army Painter metallic or is that fairy dust? Is that a euphemism for something? I don't know. I don't know what all the Army Painter metallics are. So far, I'm digging the purplish tongue. kind of want to go deeper purple now. Give them like a good and proper purplish
Yeah, I have
tone.
to say, this thing looks like the kind of stuff that you imagine rummaging in your dumpster, except, you know, it's a nightmare.
That's just Florida.
The pig gator? That's a Florida pig gator?
Yes.
Florida man's mighty steed.
It's like the stuff that you keep in the assault rifle for, because when it gathers in hordes of 20 to 30 hogs, you're screwed.
Yeah, well, you know, the Florida pig gator. He's pretty common to these parts.
So you get used to them. You just stay inside your fine.
Yeah,
They don't have thumbs.
Yeah, you don't leave your pizza boxes out in the trash. He'll rummage through them. Your keto pizza.
They don't get angry that they feel betrayed. They'll come for you.
But I really don't understand keto diet. How many times have I had people tell me that no, they can't eat bread or anything, but they've starved down cheese with hamburgers. Hamburgers with cheese. It's like not the hamburgers that are the whole hamburger, just the meat thing.
Oh no.
That's it with cheese.
Then again, I back in Russia, I live in St. Petersburg, which is like the ground zero of every single stupid weird trend in Russia. So
Shish purple. Next, we're gonna use this a little bit on the tongue. For the tongue. Yeah, let's use a little. Yeah, we'll use a little thing. Oh, jeez, knocking shit over now. Use a little bit of contrast medium, just a drop. Just thin it out just a little bit. Just like so.
I think we've had a scandal once when some website was selling some sort of phosphate iron vagina eggs, but they turn out to be radioactive.
Jeez.
Well, when I was younger, we went out to out west, where or out the general vicinity. Well, not vicinity, but close enough to it where you could see museums and such, and in theory get small doses of radiation to the Manhattan Project. There's some people would illegally go in there, take pieces of slightly radioactive glass sand and sell it to you as a tourist trinket.
Jeez.
That sounds ridiculously stupid. You want radioactive sand.
It wasn't radioactive enough to actually kill you.
Yeah,
It's
but that's
just barely radio.
Still,
that's
Well, for you.
but that's
It's not good for you at all.
but that's how you get the Florida pig gator.
Oh yeah. Well,
Of course. Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna try it on these horns just for giggles.
I'm in the Netherlands right now, and the weather's been unbelievably awful. We've had today we've had a temperature of 7, and a combination of 2 separate different rains in one day. So like it rained, then it stopped, then it rained again.
That's where all the Florida rain went this week.
yeah, over to Europe. We've had some of that.
Yeah, it's raining pretty good in my parts. Not in my parts, but I mean my area.
Well,
I do want to ask people if one of the things that the guy I'm painting right now, it's cybernetic dataset, so another tech priest. One of the things I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to have the sun shine on him not from above, but like from an angle. I wonder if people have ever done this before. So instead of just his stop being illuminated, it's kind of like the. If you've ever seen that picture of a sphere that's used to demonstrate three-dimensional graphics, that's what I want to make him look like in terms of lighting.
Did you have an airbrush?
I mean, I do have an airbrush, but I haven't used it because I don't like it.
Well, that's a great application for it.
And I've been doing it with my hand so far. It's just that I want to see that if people ever tried doing this sort of stuff with lighting, instead of just taking the top of the model, I think the volumetric highlights in the
Fire Jerky Team. Chris got a show I think you'll like. It's called C. Stars Jason Momoa and Dave Bautista. Yeah, I just actually got Apple Plus TV or Apple TV Plus because I wanted to watch Foundation. I finally broke down, fucking bought that subscription. Enjoying Foundation. Yeah, I was thinking about checking out C. Yeah. Bad news, it's on Apple TV. Good news, I think it's if you have a PlayStation, you can get 6 months Apple TV free. Oh, really? No, I don't have a PlayStation, but I already got the app, so yeah. Goffson the Leet. Goffson? Yeah, Goffson the Leet. Wow, this looks really good. Well, thank you. It's still early phases. We're still just farting around with color and laying down value and just kind of like basically I've been using this head as a prototype for how I want to go about painting the rest of the figure. So, and I have no idea what I'm going to do for the Orruk. So, but yeah, I wanted to do something different than what I've been seeing from other people who've painted up this figure, and of course the way I wanted to differ from the way Games Workshop does this, and so yeah, I want to do something different. Fire Drake, if you do see it, don't look up the show. I think you'll enjoy it more not knowing the premise. It's kind of like Game of Thrones. Yeah, that's what it kind of looks like. It looks like it's a post-apocalyptic kind of story.
Yeah, I was just staring at the title. I'm like, why does that sound so familiar? I'm like, oh yeah, I think I've read some of that book series when I was younger.
Oh yeah?
That makes so much more sense now. Like, I swear I've heard of that, but it's so new. How could I have heard of this before?
What's the name of the series?
C.
It's The Foundation. The book series is by Isaac Asimov.
Oh, you mean, yeah, Foundation, yeah.
Oh, that thing. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
I like the book, so I'm sure I'll like the show. In theory.
In theory.
I'll give it a shot.
It's so weird. Because we're loved and hated at the same time. Loved because there's so many small females, and you hated because of the same reason.
Are you talking to us? Killer?
Did he take it away?
Who's on the what now?
Pizza. I tried to summon him with my bad Russian.
Keto pizza, yes.
Keto pizza. So what's the difference between Kubica and Kasatka?
Literally nothing. It's like two words that mean the same thing, except Kasatka's been kind of like borrowed from English. And Keto pizza is a literal Celtic translation. It means kit is whale and pizza means killer. So it literally just means killer whale.
Well, Kasatka is way easier to say. So I would
Yes,
like
it is.
Yeah.
I don't even know why I named myself like this. I just give it a I guess.
Well, I like it, so yay.
To be
That's
fair,
right.
Kasatkas are like the most badass things in the sea that actually eat out of things.
I mean, they give zero fucks.
I remember watching a video with Kasatka just leopard seal. Those things are really nasty. They're like 30 meters long, eat absolutely everything except Kasatka. So Kasatka just launch him into the air just because he was in a general vicinity. Just thought, oh hey, fuck the sea.
I mean, they are the apex predator.
Kind of hard having a literal whale try to eat you. Kind of hard to beat them.
Fire Drake. Foundation is good too. Really enjoyed it. Yeah. Apple is doing a really good job with their production values. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, Foundation, I don't even know what that budget is for that show, but it's on par with like any other good, really good sci-fi type of show. The effects are really good.
Did you know that one of the major major prey items of Kasat is actually a moose, because moose can dive up to 6 feet to eat seaweed, and Kasat like only lunch.
How? What?
No, Kasat apparently eat moose, like mooses, geese.
Yeah,
Mises?
moose. Plural is just moose, isn't it? Moose.
I know I'm making a dumb joke. Mises.
Bye.
Mises, man. Mises.
Mises.
You gotta watch out for the
Mises
Mises.
and geeses.
Mises and
So
geeses.
where would these moose go into the water?
It moves when they live next to freshwater habitats. They can dive to search for seaweed.
Would they? Wow. Okay, so I live in Norway, right? And moose don't generally go near the coast, as far as I know. So this is new to me,
But,
and I love
but
it.
that's not at the coast. They're like fresh, like in the fjords and whatnot.
Yeah. Like in the inlets and.
So, when there's no grass on during the winter, when there's not many plants on the surface, moose can dive, so they can try to keep themselves alive by eating seaweed and water plants, wetlands, and killer whales realize that, so they sometimes moose when moose die.
Well, I learned something new about the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah, that's like one of the stupidest, but at the same time most metal things about animal life on Earth. Like imagine a moose diving and then just the sucker just comes and eats him.
Kim, I live in Tromos or Tromoso,
Oh. Tromsø.
and the moose definitely go all the way to the water here. Yeah, I'd imagine.
Oh yeah, because it's like an island.
Fire Drake, that's a good looking man bear pig. Man bear pig. Pig man bear. Yeah, I'm mostly happy with, I think, how that flesh looks. I think with the flesh, I'm going to come in with some of the base tone. I'll probably glaze in just to re-solidify some of the points and some of the transitions, like on the ear, on the tip of the nose. I want a little bit more color around that nose like that, just so it looks, more piggy-like. Yeah. The gums, I think I want to go darker on the gums, just so that it frames the teeth a little bit better. I'm going to use more of this purple, make the gums a little darker, kind of like, like some dogs, how their gums look really dark. For anybody who owns a dog. Or a pig, man bear pig.
I really love how his face is so bleached. That is like you realize it's flesh, but it's not particularly healthy or hale flesh. It's just I don't know. It's just man bear pig needs to take better care of his health. Then again, I guess
Reflecting equal sun.
Well, he is working for the Cruel Boys, so he could be getting his ass kicked every day and, doesn't have time to brush. You never know. Man Bear Pig might be the victim in all this.
I think I know where Kim lives now. Do you live 20 minutes on the island or over the bridge? Mainland, okay. Yeah, because I've got loads of family up there.
they're like, so are you guys like from Finland or Sweden?
Ah, we Norwegian.
That doesn't really border Russia, does it? No.
Well, it's a tiny sliver.
I suppose. It's really weird. The whole Scandinavia looks like an onion in the sense that you have those speckles that are just like semi-lunar.
Does Canada border Russia?
No.
Why not?
It used to when Alaska was a Russian colony.
Yeah, now Russia only borders United States.
What about at the North Pole?
I need to look it up. It's making me look up a map, booyah.
Like, does it count if it's a though?
Does it count? I don't know.
Generally, I tend to think of borders as like places where people actually can cross without being suicidal. And like nobody wants to cross through the Arctic. Like why? Until the global warming hits, and this stuff can be sailed without resorting to nuclear icebreakers.
What?
Okay, so what I'm saying is, until the global warming hits and like the sea thaws a lot, nobody really wants to cross from Russia to Canada through the Arctic. So it doesn't really count the border, at least for me, because it's less of a border and more like an impossible terrain.
Where am I? Goffson Elite. I really like the detail on the skin next to the neck spikes. Looks sweet. Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Oh yeah, and God, I love the tongue. The tongue looks amazing.
Yeah, I'm kind of digging the tongue. It's kind of got this gray purple look to it right now at the moment, and there's an animal they think that does have like a gray purple tongue like this.
Giraffes.
Giraffes?
Yeah, well, they got more blue.
Yeah, okay, sure, I'll buy it.
There breeds a dog with great.
I've seen
purple
tongues
spots.
like this on dogs. Yes.
Generally, the cow, I believe, is
Yeah,
the primary dog
yeah.
that has that.
Yeah, chow chow. Yeah, I hear you.
I always felt really weird. Why would people name their dog Chow Chow? That's like the name for food.
Well, it was this.
Must be Chinese.
It was Chinese. It is Chinese, and it was. I'm not sure if it still is, but for a while it was eaten.
Yeah, and then I realized that yes, wait a second. It's not that the food was named after. The dog was named after food. The food was named after a dog because it was made out of dogs.
If I remember correct, they tried making a fashion industry out of the coats, but it never really took off. Or maybe it did. I'm not looking that up.
Fire Drake,
I don't wanna-
man bear pig is overworked and underpaid, and he's unvaccinated, so he may be unemployed. Jeez. He's Florida pig gator. He's not man bear pig. He's Florida pig gator. He's a pig gator.
I mean, to be fair, he's like selling his services to a bunch of crackheads in a swamp. So,
Well, then he's not unemployed at least.
does that count as a job, though?
Goffs.
He gets paid in... I don't know.
Goffson Elite. I'm really bad at painting minis. It's too fiddly for me, and I can't get the paint where I want it. Should I switch to painting tanks and such instead? Yeah, I mean, like, if the trouble keeping your hands steady, there are many ways of trying to brace yourself so that you can try and steady your hands. For me, typically, it's either like resting your wrists on the table or resting your elbows on the table, right? Of course, using handles, like I'll have, like these things here. This is the steady hand grip. Of course, you got Citadels. They make one that, makes it, a little bit more comfortable for, hanging on to something, right? And you can paint and, all that. Usually it's about being comfortable. And of course, if you drink a lot of coffee and what have you, that can contribute to being jittery. For myself personally, usually whenever I'm getting hungry and whenever the old blood sugars are getting low, that's when I start to feel kind of, jittery and stuff like that. So, like, I can feel it kind of coming on right now that I'm feeling a little bit, I'm having a little difficulty keeping my hand steady. But we are hitting the 2-hour mark, so I am getting close to mealtime. Been watching a lot of Night Shift lately, and his tanks are damn amazing. I'm not familiar with Night Shift. But yeah, I mean, like if you have trouble, maintaining a steady hand and stuff like that, and you don't feel that way when you're working on larger projects, then yes, stick to larger projects. Not everybody has to do this the same way, and whatever works for you, whatever makes you happy. I mean, like, first and foremost, this is a hobby, right? And if you're not enjoying yourself while you're hobbying, then maybe you should go somewhere else and find your joy in something, in another pursuit, right? Like, you can still appreciate miniature painting, but yeah, it might not be for you if you have a lot of difficulty maintaining a steady hand. Not that it's terribly important, because I mean there are ways around it, but I mean if you have like a medical condition that impedes fine motor skills, then yeah, you might want to look at other things and admire from afar, kind of thing, right? I know eventually one day I'll hit a point where I probably won't be able to hold a brush very well when I'm old and gray, but yeah, you'll eventually get there, right?
I personally used to have really bad handshaking because of my anxiety, but the way I dealt with it was just like painting it up until I get used to it. So I just compensated twice for shared experience. So now I can do some pretty nice details.
Right, yeah. And I mean, you just find whatever, works for you. I mean, like, it's highly individual. It's not a one or other kind of thing. It's not, it's not one size fits all kind of thing, right? It's all, this is a hobby, just like all hobbies, and it is deeply personal, right? And if you can't maintain the fine motor skill to do this kind of stuff, then you might need to find other outlets for your free time, kind of thing.
Honestly, I would say that Warhammer is just far too expensive to not enjoy, so you have to find what gives you joy and do only that.
Right, yeah. And of course, hobbies for the most part usually are expensive, usually. Right? Jump back into this one. We're gonna do the horns and his teeth in this color, just because. Yeah, I'll put it right back in there. Old Jolly, I sometimes use my thumb on my left hand to steady the brush for detail, like a pool cue. Yeah, sometimes I do that myself. Yeah, I'll find myself, like, you might have noticed when I was painting this earlier, like I was trying to like balance it off his thing, but I tried not, and I always caution other people about this, like try not to touch the model. Even like when I was wiping it with my finger, I try not to do that. Try to use, like a clean brush and then try and pull those excess paint off. But yeah, sometimes I'll find myself, like if I'm holding a model, I'll touch like my pinkies together and steady my hand. And I find that helps sometimes. So you can see even right now, like right now I'm getting a little bit shaky. I can feel myself kind of tensing up. And, unfortunately it's just nature and of course time of day and, our own medical conditions and our, there's many factors at play. It's not always easy as a one solution kind of thing. It's highly individual.
One of the things that helps me is that I put the model in a holder, like I'm using Citadel holder and a bunch of other holders, but basically put a model into a holder and put the holder flat on the table so that you don't have to hold the model up at all. At least in this way, you get a little bit more leeway in how much brain power you can dedicate to controlling just one hand instead of two.
Yeah, that works.
Dedication of brain power, that's smart. There's also how much you're damn concentrating on it and you don't realize that you tense up your hands and your fingers and you grip the brush too hard.
Yeah.
And then you start shaking.
Yeah.
Or if you just simply stop breathing.
Yeah, like
Please don't stop breathing for more than like 2 minutes. I've heard it kills people.
Yeah, no, that's like the maximum. Well, some people can do it for way longer, but you know, the average.
By then, as a former professional swimmer, if you lost health, he's trapped for like 5 minutes. He was okay.
Yeah, breathing is another big one. It's important to breathe while you're doing this. And I often recommend you learn this in shooting, like guns.
Yeah.
You know, you take a nice deep breath in, slowly exhale, but then as you're exhaling, stop halfway through, and then commit to your brushstroke. That's what's helped me for a lot of this stuff.
I do it whenever I paint an eyeball. I hate eyeballs. Well,
Yeah, tiny things like that, you really have to send to yourself.
Yeah. I'm not in love with the yellow, but it's not bad.
What yellow is that?
It's Balor Brown.
Ah. Oh my god, I really
As I like to call it.
What was that? Barfing?
No, it wasn't important. It's Baylor, as I like to call it.
Balor? I don't know. Whatever. I used it for the leather, but we changed that obviously once we hit it with the snake bite. And so I'm thinking that I'm probably going to bring this up brighter, especially on the teeth. Of course, though, because I may go fairly bright on the skin, that I don't know if I want to do that for the teeth. I might actually want to keep the teeth kind of yellowy and, you know, dirty. I just didn't want to go brown in the typical fashion, which we also go brown, you know, like for teeth.
How do you go brown for teeth?
Like horns and teeth, you often go very dark brown because it's in the, like the recesses and at the gum line. It's very, very dark. Typically, we often do it for claws and, you know, all those details, right?
So I think Facebook is alive again because I just got a message.
So it seems.
Yeah. Also, Old Jolly is a problem he has that his vision deceives him and ends up with the brush in the wrong spot. I think that I've been doing that. I've been having that problem myself recently, just because I'm getting older. I tend to just move around the entire model, just torque my torso so the background's different, and then my eyes just readjust.
Oh man, I'm young, but I sometimes have problems focusing on small details because I get anxiety. Apparently, it also affects muscles in your eyeballs.
Yeah.
In this case, what helps me, at least, is to close my eyes for 5 seconds, breathe in, breathe out, and open them up again. So just like kind of reset. Because sometimes it's just difficult to focus, and then I don't get perception, and then I end up putting a globe of paint in the completely wrong spot.
Oh, we're learning all sorts today about biology, psychology, painting.
Well, it's like when you don't really get, like when the depth perception system in your brain doesn't really function that well, you can't really figure out how close something is. So, it's easy for me to just push the brush in too hard. And so, like, you know, when you push, basically instead of putting a nice thin line, I just end up stippling the highlight color all over it.
Dark Commission, hey there. My main problem is losing my visual focus gradually and not noticing, so painting gets difficult, then all of a sudden realizing and refocusing. Yeah. I mean, like right now, doing the mouth and the teeth and stuff like that, I can do with just my eyes. But when I get to like doing the eyeballs and stuff, I either need my magnifying lenses or I just need to bring my project up to my light and bring, like, I basically look over my glasses and I use my actual eyes, right? My actual eyes as opposed to my false eyes. But yeah, usually whenever I'm painting for myself, like my lamp, I usually have that like right up here by my face, and I'll paint like this. You probably can only see me on the small camera, but yeah. And so I just look over my lenses. I mean, you guys can't see what I'm painting right now, but I'm painting like his molars. And yeah, this is way more comfortable for me to paint because I can see what I'm doing. But the thing is because I work in really thin layers, I'll have to hit that a few times, and so yeah, it's quite a process at times. But the beauty of working in thin layers like this oftentimes is that if you do make a boo-boo, you can always, like, as long as you're fast, you can correct, and you can even actually, if you move really fast, you can pull that layer off if you work in thin paint layers. It's
one of the things I do that I don't know if it's really stupid or really smart is that when I realize that I've completely mucked up something and put like a large glob of black in the middle of a white roll, is that I just dip the whole model into my water pot and swirl it in there.
I don't know if that's necessary, but
I mean, it does work. Like, because I usually work with extremely thin paints, they don't dry that fast, so if the paint is still wet, then it's just gonna come off.
True.
It's stupid, but it works. But it's stupid.
I mean, if it works, it's not stupid.
Yeah, very true.
You tell that to the guy who designed koalas. Koalas are the stupidest animal on planet Earth.
Is it anything like Cialis? At this point here, I'm just glazing on thin layers. I'm allowing some of that purple to remain where the horn meets up with the flesh. So we just get a nice little deep shadow in there. It just allows me to see what I'm doing here. So I just keep that nice little dark separation and then create that slight transitions through the purple to the Balor brown. Balor, whatever the fuck.
Just call it Warwick Brown because that's what it used to be back in the day.
Yeah, pretty much. Fire drink. Don't paint with your eyes. Paint with your heart.
I like that.
Yeah, that's your daily dose of some hippie shit right there.
Believe in the heart of the paint.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Don't paint with your eyes. Paint with your heart. I love it. We're using that from now on.
Yeah, this is the kind of stuff. It's kind of the smart were very stupid. We're very stupid. It does sound like the kind of stuff that my mom would post on Facebook, so it does sound very stupid.
And you know what?
Yeah.
And here's the funny part. Facebook just came back up, and then Fire Drake dropped us that fucking info right on us. Isn't that weird?
Well,
I think SkumDrekk might be a fucking Facebook bot.
we've got a reptilian amongst.
Are we putting our tinfoil hats back on?
Oh, I'll go get mine.
Sometimes I legit want to make one just for when we get into these kind of conversations. I just want to put my fucking tinfoil hat on.
I'm gonna make a hat for when I go with my parents, and they start telling me about how the hydrogen monoxide causes autism, because every autistic person has the hydrogen monoxide in.
Because apparently everybody went to Facebook medical university.
Yeah, I mean, the hydrogen monoxide is water, so if a guy doesn't have water in it, he's not going to be autistic because he's not going to be alive.
Just hit that time.
It's just so weird, like I literally am a biologist in the sense that I work in a lab. And it's weird how people think they know more than you just because they read some guy from Florida talk on Facebook about the topic.
Yeah, it's crazy freaking days we're in, man.
Are you a marine biologist?
No, I'm a molecular / microbiologist. So it's like bacterial molecules.
Ooh.
It is pretty cool. I get to spend most of my work in a lab, which is amazing, because if I had to work in an office, I'd kill myself.
Oops.
Well, I mean, at least for some people, I can't imagine ever working in an office. Imagine just not doing anything physically the whole day. And then a bastard Kyle from accounting comes around and asks you where his stapler is.
Did you just say bastard Kyle from accounting?
Yes.
Right, that's the character.
SkumDrekk, it brings out the other darker details. Yeah, and I'm not a bot, I swear.
That sounds very much like something a bot would say.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds like something a bot would say.
Still on trial, mate.
So I've just been painting a lot of metal, at least not on my robots, because the robots are big, but on the little guy, the infantryman, with dry brushing, and I really love how it looks on metal. It's much more than just the good all manual highlighting, because the dry brushing on metal leaves such thin lines of highlighting. I don't know. It's a personal thing, because recently I've had a big fight IRL with another mini painter who just bragged to me that he never dry brushes ever, and that makes him superior.
That's false.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
If the paint, go ahead.
how do you paint fur? How do you paint hair? How do you paint like literally anything that's big, nibbly knobbly, sponge-like surface?
Well, you can dry brush it. You can paint it, like, I mean, dry brushing is just a little bit more efficient at picking up that raised surface, but you could do it painstakingly by hand, picking out each of the little things. I mean, you could wet blend fur. I mean, personally, I like a combination of all the techniques. For example, you base coat the surface. If I wanted to create, like, for example, like, say, Space Wolves, where they have that nice deep transition between a dark brown and a light brown, I often will wet blend that or feather it, depending on which way I want to do it, and just using, like a larger brush and then just, like, scrubbing that transition in. And then if I really wanted to go about it quickly, then I would just dry brush And like the oftentimes where like dry brushing is one of those techniques. It's one of the first techniques we learn as miniature painters, but it is one of those techniques that has a varying degree of nuance. And the more experienced you are at it, the easier time you have utilizing it very effectively versus somebody who's relatively new.
You should dry brush by grabbing a makeup brush and just dry brushing the whole model in a nuclear attack scenario. You can target dry brush stuff.
Sure, yeah, you can use dry brush in dark colors or light colors. It doesn't really matter. It's just knowing where the strengths of the technique lie and where it falls short. Like, for example, wet blending is a really great way to create transitions on a surface. But you can create transitions by layering, by blending it, by feathering it, by dry brushing it. You can also create transitions by dry brushing as well. But see, the thing is that when you're really new at painting, dry brushing is just really effective at, catching those edges. But where dry brushing falls short is if you dry brush too much, you get that chalky finish. And that, well, how do you avoid the chalky finish? Well, there's a few ways to avoid it. One, you could always glaze on top of it to marry those transitions and to soften out the surface. Or you can, nip it in the bud, and if you lay a nice smooth base coat down and don't create so many transitions within the color, but allow the color itself and your application of it to give you that gradient of color on that surface, if that makes sense. Again, it's one of those things. It has a lot of nuance, and it's.
I actually really love blending metals with dry brushing because the metals, at least the ones that I'm using, I use Citadel metallics because they're pretty dull, but it's amazingly for like my color guys. For those metallics, blending with dry brushing makes them look amazing because it matches the texture of the metal so much.
Yeah, dry brushing metals is pretty much where, dry brushing shines in metallics.
Fine. Good.
Oh wow, that was a nice pun.
I'm thinking there are people who, like you say, go into arguments about how you should paint and you shouldn't dry brush and you shouldn't do this. Is as long as you're happy and you're having fun doing it and you're happy with your model in the end, people can just fuck off.
Yeah.
It's such a weird experience. Like I was buying a trailer brown actually recently, and well, there is a store in my hometown which is amazingly well equipped, but then there is a store in a nearby bigger town which is really badly equipped, but they have very cheap prices because they're going out of business. I was there, and again, I should painted one of those Gundams. You know the names, but Gundams, I guess, Japanese mechas, in a display cabinet, and I was talking with a guy about how he painted them because there's a beautiful paper. And some weird guy came up to me and he told me that I shouldn't dabble too much in like those Japanese robots because that's destroying the Western cultural values.
Oh, that's just some racism for your ass. That's all.
I don't even know how to respond. Like I'm from Russia. That's not West in the first place.
Yeah, that's just people being shitheads. That's racism, man. That's anytime anybody drops, it'll affect Western civilization or Western culture. Anytime they use that phrase, that's racist. They're being racist.
Yeah, I know. It's like they use the word oriented. It's a noun, but like it's just so fucking stupid.
Yes, it is. It's a very stupid argument, and even like but to bring it back to painting, shitting on say dry brushing or any other technique, or even paint line, or shitting on anything in this hobby. All that is elitist gatekeeping. And that's it.
Yeah, I really don't know, because at least in Russia, Warhammer has been always extremely popular. So what we have in Russia is that we have a community of grog nerds who really hate anything new. I even know a guy who refuses to play against any army that has Primaris Marines in it. And if you ever talk with those guys about miniature painting, it's possible. Unless it's like 20 years old, it's bad. Such a weird experience.
Yeah.
Why do you define yourself by hating something?
It's because the rest of the real world scares them.
Yeah, I suppose.
That kind of talk typically it comes from people with a lot of fear in their souls. That's really where it comes from. Old Jolly. The level of miniature painting is light years from where it was 10 to 15 years ago. No, it's I think the accessibility of people to get really good at painting very, very quickly, yes, definitely has changed since 10, 15 years ago. But otherwise, the level of painting, no, it's been pretty much this for the last 20, 30 years, maybe. Just because different styles and different inspirations come along. And yeah, I mean, like, really, since, I guess, like, non-metallic metal and object source lighting, I mean, those have been around for the last 10, 15 years. It's just the varying degree in which people achieve, the color blends and, things like that. But really, like, realistically, the only difference between, a brand new person painting and somebody who's been painting for 30 years is the amount of time that they spend and, of course, the experience. And, I mean, it's getting good at this hobby, whatever that is. It's just time put in. That's all. It's practice.
Basically, at least in terms of paint quality, I can say that like I found some old Citadel paints from my old hobbying days. Once I tried painting with them, but it was really awful because the coverage of these things was disgusting. The only good thing about old Citadel paints were the pots. The pots, good, man.
Well, they stayed pretty airtight. Old Jolly, Krill Kanev is doing textures with acrylics I've never seen. You have to post a link. Or Old Jolly, are you on our Discord? If you're on our Discord, you can just share it in the Discord. That's the easiest way just to share something.
Yeah, I'm also interested in this.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that name. But I mean, it's probably somebody I have probably seen their work. But as far as creation of textures with acrylics, no. I mean, like, and another one that, I find these comparisons really funny. Like when people talk about use of water-based acrylics or even solvent-based acrylics or oil paint. That's the other one, oil paint. Oil painting, that was a thing even when I was a kid doing this stuff. People talked about, oh, well, they were painting with oils and blah, blah, and it's like, okay, great. Like, yeah, that's awesome. Doesn't mean shit. But the one that I would find the most impressive, and I don't see anybody really doing it, but I have seen it used to effect, is wet blending with enamels. And that just blows my mind. Like, wet blending with enamels? That's some confidence in your ability to achieve a blend on a surface, because enamels dry really, really fast. Almost like solvent-based acrylics. That shit dries fast. And you don't have a lot of time. And I mean, like, what was I doing? I think it was the Sister of Battle. I did a little bit of wet blending using Tamaya acrylics. And that shit dries fast. I had to use a retardant just to get some of that to happen. And I can't imagine with enamels the same kind of thing. But yeah.
I really want to learn how to oil and blend on the robes of my guys because they have a ton of robes. And I really like wet blending, and with foils it's so simple.
Well, oils, I mean, like, the paint is paint. Oil paint and acrylics, I mean, like, if you like the work time of oil paints, that's fine. and you can do that with acrylics. You can just add a retardant to it, and
I'm not arguing that it's the best or anything. It's just that I really like blending oil paint. It's like ridiculously fun.
right.
At least for me.
Old Jolly Tamaya is an acrylic, but alcohol based. Right. Well, I just said like a solvent based acrylic. Yeah. It's a. I just use that as a broad term because I mean like there are a few different types of acrylics, but essentially acrylic is just a synthetic versus oil paint, which tend to be more natural based paints, right? Tend to. But there's still synthetic pigments. I mean, again, we were talking about this the other day about like cadmium. They don't use cadmium in paint anymore because it's fucking poisonous, right?
One of the most interesting things about oil paints versus acrylic paints is a different drying mechanism. Like acrylic paints dry, so the solvent evaporates. So like water, alcohol, while the oil paints, they oxidize. So instead of evaporating, the oil just becomes a solid film.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool once you get into the chemistry.
Yeah, it's a bit like curing. FireDrake18. So Chris, when this solar flare hits and destroys the internet for 3 years, are you going to start a mailer and tell us what you would be painting today? Like a mailer, yeah.
I was going to be on VHS tapes.
Yeah. Kim, reflections. Oh, I posted Curl stuff in Discord. He, the guy with the insane reflections in his non-metallic. He is a favorite painter and have been for years. Yeah, I'm not familiar with him. I'll have to check him out. You posted in Discord, you said? Let's have a look. You know what? I think we're done for the moment because, yeah, I'm getting hungry. Oh, it's 6:30 for me. Let me see here. Where'd you post it, Kim? Did you post it in Playground? Did you post it in general? Nope. Must be in general. Nope. Kim, where'd you post it? Kim. Questions and answers? Nope. Kim, where'd you post the link? Not for the week? Nope. Nope. Everybody left.
Did they collectively lose the internet?
I don't know. I wanted Kim to post the link, but I don't see it anywhere. Oh, it's dinner time. Oh, Grim said it was dinner time. Okay, well, I think Kim's having me on because I think he said posted the link. Yeah, Old Jolly tried to post the link in the chat, but it didn't happen. So yeah, that's all right.
We have the name. It can be Googled.
Yeah, I'm sure I probably have seen this person's work. So yeah, I mean, like I do sort of pay attention to what others are doing. I usually don't too much though, just because I don't like it to affect what I'm working on, especially like if I'm painting a space marine and there's a bunch of other people working on the space marine, I don't want to paint a space marine the same way they're going to paint a space marine. So which is why I often will do something crazy with it, right? So I don't like to do what other people are doing. That's just boring. You know what I mean? Like if people are painting the Black Templar, I'm not going to paint a Black Templar, especially if I'm doing it like a tutorial. Yeah, I'm going to do it different. Just so that people don't all walk in lockstep in the same direction, because to me, that's not art. If we're all going to agree that this is an art, then there are many ways to achieve it. There are many ways to go about it. And, if there's only one way to do something, then it's done. It's done. It's not worth it. If there's multiple ways to do it, then creativity can play. That's where creativity can play.
I used to be a box art guy. I only painted after the box art, and I've found that when I do my own schemes and my own wacky shit, I've been way more pleased with the models than ever.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're just doing whatever you wanted, right? I mean, it was all like, it sounds really selfish, but I mean, like, it was all for you, right?
Of course.
And that, I think, is the best kind of art, because it inspires somebody else who realizes when they're looking at it and going, geez, I really like that. That speaks to me. That's what I was thinking of. And I had no idea what I was thinking of, but until you did it, that it solidified my own thoughts in that regard, as far as, doing this or that. And that's good art in that regards. When everybody's painting the exact same thing, the exact same way, it's not art anymore. It's something else. I don't know what, but it's not art. I mean, yes, everything humans do is art, but there's some things that we consider art and other things we don't, right? Anyway. Kim, pick in the Discord now. I had to post the links now. It's something I have done a few times before. Post pics of his Putin Crimson Fist. Oh, the Putin Crimson Fist. Yeah, I'm familiar with that. That was, I think that one, like, Crystal Brush, like, man, or maybe it was Golden Demon. Either way. Yeah. I've seen that Knight's helmet, yeah, with the reflected cloth in the background. Yeah, I've seen that before. And yeah, that's 100% impressive. That, to me, that is non-metallic metal. If you aren't if you're not doing non-metallic metal like that, then you're not doing non-metallic metal, right? Are you in Discord? Or are you in Discord? Barfing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you must be, because you're fucking talking to me. That's right. Duh. Of course you're in Discord. You're fucking talking to me. Anyway.
No, I'm having a look at that.
Yeah, he posted the pictures in general, and yeah, like, that is non-metallic metal.
Like, I'm lonely, the small scratches.
Yes, yeah. No, it's fantastic. That's painting. That's painting. Hold on, let me move my camera around.
Painting for your kids.
Yeah, that's some painting for your ass right there. And, like, that's not hard at all. That's very achievable. That is just simply observation and painting what you see. Now, how would you go about something like that? Well, it's pretty straightforward. You just start laying the paint down, and it is really all about just painting what you see and using the color. So, like, for example, laying that blue down. Well, you block that color in. You wouldn't lay that blue on the entirety of the helmet. You would just lay it up in those upper portions where that you figure that blue should be. The darker values, you just slap those in. And then you create your gradients around it. You know what I mean? Like, we have it in our heads how we paint miniatures, where we paint it a solid section at a time, and then, build our colors upwards. But that tends to put a lot of paint on the surface, and that can get kind of thick pretty darn fast. Yeah, his non-metallic metal work, yeah, that's non-metallic metal. What I see a lot, and I don't really regard as good examples of non-metallic metal, is something like here. This is what I see all the time as far as non-metallic metal is concerned. Fucking hell. Where's a good example of it? Of course I can't fucking find it now, right?
You thinking like just a grey gradient?
Well, yeah, like this kind of shit right here. Let's go. Can we do that? No.
Emphasis on the air. Yes.
Let me see.
Alright, sorry guys, it looks like I'll have to leave you.
You already left us.
Yeah, but I came back to say sorry for that, so.
Oh. Well, you don't have to say sorry.
Have a nice evening, guys.
Later, duder.
Goodbye.
That is non-metallic. Oh yeah. Shaggy SM, thank you for subscribing. That's non-metallic metal. That is what I often see on people's miniatures. That's not realistic. That's a style.
It's more of a comic book thing.
Right. It's
or an album cover, as it is.
Yeah.
An album cover.
Yeah, and that's typically what non-metallic metal looks like. So when people do non-metallic metal, that's, what people think of. And that's really easy to achieve. Like, anybody can do that. It's just placement of color. Know the directions, and then, of course, know the rules as far as the angle in which something bends, how much brightness and how much darkness should be in those spaces. It's really not that difficult. But, like, what Buddy's doing there with the reflected light sourcing, that is a true non-metallic metal. That is painting what you would see. That is a realism. The band logo type of non-metallic metal, which is very, 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 very common, is not realistic. People basically should just stop doing it. No, they don't have to stop doing it. I mean, it looks cool on models. I mean, Space Marine's done up like that. It just looks cool. But it's not, it's not realism. This shit here, what Buddy, or what Kim shared in the Discord, yeah, that's more realistic. But of course, on miniatures, it's kind of tough. Because it's a because it's a three-dimensional surface, right? That kind of shit only works in a fixed perspective. That starts to lose it when you change the angle of viewing.
Yeah, the minute you turn that thing around, it's just paint.
Yeah, you change, like the one with the reflected flag in the helmet. If you turn that 20 degrees, that doesn't make sense anymore. And it'll actually probably just look like the flag pattern is painted onto the back of the head. Because it's not real, right? It's just painted.
But he does have to account for the curvatures and that this is a three-dimensional object and not a canvas. That is absolutely stunning.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But I wouldn't go for... Let's see, I want to try this, of course, but I would try to do it on a canvas and make an actual painting instead of doing it on a model.
Right, and that's essentially what that is, right? I mean, you're taking painting techniques and applying them to the model. But I mean, like I've mentioned this before, like that's basically taking a 2D solution and applying it to a 3D problem. And it only works from a couple perspectives. Otherwise, the illusion gets lost, and it no longer makes sense visually. It only looks good on display painting. It doesn't look good in person. If you see a lot of these really, intricate paint jobs, they don't really look that impressive in person. And they look really great in camera because under proper lighting. But when you look at them in, like if they're sitting on a shelf, like to be viewed amongst like a gallery or whatever, they don't look the same. And the colors typically look very washed out. And you miss a lot of the transitions and stuff like that a person put into the paint job. It only shows up when you take a picture of it. Just the way our eyes interpret color, right?
Yep.
Fire Drake 18, I am a bad person for not doing non-metallic metal like that. I'm not good with observation, but I still keep trying with those paints thin. Yes. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like, if you want to achieve this sort of stuff on your models and your paint jobs, or even on the canvas, by all means, do it. Just because I'm sitting here shitting on it doesn't mean it's bad. It's just I don't get why so many people think it's the pinnacle. I guess it's the same reason, I guess, why some people think that a certain painting technique is above another. They're all the same to me. They're all the same to me. And same with these techniques. And like these finishes, like non-metallic metal versus true metallic metal versus object source lighting versus whatever, they're all just tools. And they're all just tools for an end result. Not one is not better than the other. But in this day and age, we are of this mindset of this right or left, black and white, right? And it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Fire Drake 18, I really want to work on OSL and non-metallic metal just so I can be a big man and push smaller painters around. Yes, I'm a bully at heart. Yeah, I mean that's all it is, right? When you're telling somebody, oh, don't use this paint, or oh, don't use that brush, oh, don't use that technique, oh, don't use that particular effect on a model, whatever the fuck. Anytime you're telling people to do or not do something, yeah, you're best just shutting your mouth and just do what you want. I mean, it's your money, it's your hobby, it's your free time. Do whatever makes you happy. If you just like building the shit, then just build the shit. You only like looking at them, in base coat, then just base coat them. You only like playing, then just play, right? I mean, like, just do whatever you want to do. It's your hobby. And the idea that, well, you're only a master if you do this, that's kind of bunk. You're only a pro if you are doing this. Not really. Because there's so many shortcuts to an end result that, how do you know that some of these people who are, who spend a great deal of time, taking good pictures of the miniatures, how do you know they only spend a few hours on that particular effect? You know what I mean? You don't know how long it took a particular painter to achieve a desired result. They might only ever do that particular technique on a model, right? The other thing is like, for example, the examples of Buddy there doing the non-metallic metal that we got on Discord, that looks like a bust. So it's hard to say how big that is. It's probably like quarter scale, maybe half. The Daniel Craig Crimson Fist Terminator, that was a big piece. That was a big model. That was almost, I wouldn't say it was 1/12 scale, but he was pretty darn big. I would say he was about 6 inches tall. Might be even bigger. But that was a big piece as well. So yeah, it's amazing when you look at it, especially in the pictures, but you have no frame of reference really on how big that model is. Other than the fact that if you knew that the fist icons, those were from Land Raider Doors, the Forge World add-ons. Then you start to get a sense of how big that is and how much detail he was packed into it. It is still a very impressive piece, don't get me wrong, but it's also a pretty big piece. And
we're all used to Terminators being not that big. So most people think that he's painting tiny, but as you say, we don't really know how big it is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw this model. I'm pretty sure it was Crystal Brush. I saw this. It was like, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, probably 4 years ago, when this won, because I'm pretty sure this won. And yeah, I remember this piece, seeing it, and yeah, it was big. And of course, it drew a lot of eyeballs, stuff like that. But yeah. But yeah, people, when they see it in the pictures, right, they're thinking, wow, this is amazing. This is a Terminator. I mean, like, I know what a Terminator looks like because I'm in this hobby and all that shit, right? But yeah, that thing is big. That's a big model. It's a big conversion. I can't remember. There was another bit on it that was a dead giveaway on how big this was. But yeah, you can see like on his back piece on the back of the armor, that eagle, that's, I think, another Forge World door bit. But yeah, that's a big model. That's not 28 mil scale figure. So when you have a larger canvas, you know, you can play around and, you know, make things really impressive. Same with like when they're looking at like pieces of art, like the Mona Lisa, right? Everybody knows the Mona Lisa. That's a big piece. And, you know, we think, wow, look at all the detail and all the, you know, all the color and, you know, I mean, how precise it all is. Yeah, it is, because it's a big fucking piece of canvas. Last Supper is a fresco, right?
Yeah, that is
and
massive.
It's massive. And whenever we're looking at it, we're always looking at it from the sense of like looking at our computer screens or in a textbook or what have you. And we're never really given the sense of how big the actual original is, you know? So, yeah. I guess really it is, what it is really is if everybody in miniature painting, in this hobby, if they all had a few years of college level art background, yeah, this would all just be, you know, run the mill, right? I think that's really what it is. Pixel Hobo, like if you use an airbrush, you're a cheater. Yeah, exactly, right? That's another one of those stupid gatekeeping elitist type attitudes that, you know, can go away. What was that?
I've actually gotten that one said to me. He's like, "Oh, using airbrush is cheating." Well, get one yourself and see how fun it is.
Yeah, I'm
having fun, and I'm getting the results that I like.
Yeah, you're getting your shit done. Like that's what it's.
That's exactly getting your shit done.
Yeah. Like you're not sitting there. You know, another idea that I think I'd like to see go away as well is the phrase "pile of shame." I'd like to see that go away because I don't agree with it. Because basically it means that you wasted your money on all these things. Yeah, sure. You buy, you know, like for example, okay, I've got a whole bunch of Star Wars Bandai model kits. I don't consider it a pile of shame. I'll get to it eventually at some point. When? Don't know. Doesn't really matter. It's my hobby. I'm going to enjoy it whenever I get to it. And there's no shame involved there. The only time that would be shame is, again, if you felt like you were wasting your money on this. But if this hobby brings you joy in any measure, the money spent is not wasted. Kim, pile of opportunity. Exactly, bud. Exactly.
I bought the Dominion box as soon as it came out, and I thought, oh shit, this is never gonna be used. So it became like a pile of shame thing. But here I am, sitting, painting, and enjoying these Stormcasts.
Right.
Immensely.
Yeah.
So nothing has been wasted.
No, there's no waste, and so I think that would be the next thing I'd like to see go away. I'd like to see the idea that airbrushes is cheating, or that there's any kind of cheating involved. I mean, nothing is cheating. You're either efficient or not, right? And the only reason for that discrepancy is experience, right? Is either you're efficient or you're not efficient. Because you're not efficient because you're new, you're inexperienced, and you have not developed and practiced enough to become more efficient. So masters really are just more efficient painters. That's it. So there's no cheating. It's just being efficient. The piles of shame, that's another one I think could go away as well. Because again, it implies that, you know, you've wasted your money. But who's to tell you how to spend your money? I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money. You can spend your money any damn way you want. You can enjoy this hobby any damn way you want. So these are ideas that I think that need to go away. They can go away. Old Jolly. Airbrush is necessity for priming alone. A necessity? I mean, rattle can, spray cans do the trick just as good. But I agree, yes, the airbrushing your priming, that alone opens you up a lot because you don't have to worry about the weather or where you're spraying. Yeah, for the most part. You know, you can prime in any conditions.
Or very toxic chemicals.
Or very toxic, yeah, or the aerosols, yeah, exactly. But mind you, I mean, you should work with a respirator and a air hood just to catch the particulate matter when you're priming. Just you apply airbrush, but you know.
Someone calls them nostrils.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I've gotten into some priming sessions where my office was just cloudy. I'm like, oh shit, I probably should have an air hood and my respirator on, and I didn't. Do as I say, not as I do, kids. Pixel Hobo, I can tell you from experience, good luck beating me doing 120 cultists as primer and zenithal highlight. Go with my airbrush over the traditional way. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, yeah, that I wouldn't consider that cheating. It's just being more efficient. I mean, again, for a vast majority of people, you have a limited amount of time in which you get to spend your hours doing something you want to do, because a lot of times everybody's got school, work, family, whatever, life, right? And we only have a little bit of time every day, every week, every month, whatever, to spend on this. And so if you can be more efficient and enjoy your spare time doing this stuff, the happier you're going to be. Pretty simple. And so when people are telling you, don't do this, oh, that's trash, you're a noob if you're doing this, that is just bullshit gatekeeping. That's elitist bullshit gatekeeping. And that can go away as well.
Just tell them F you.
Right, but then you're in a fist fight, and, you know, you shouldn't be fist fighting. I mean, you know. Mainly because, I mean, like a reason, like, I used to get into a lot of fights when I was young. But the only reason I don't really do it so much these days is because, well, I'll fuck my hands up, and I kind of rely on my hands to make a living. I mean, I'll heal from it, but, you know, in a video, you'll see my knuckles are all fucking bruised up and everything like that, and you'll be like, Chris, what happened?
Well, there was this gatekeeping arsehole, and I should have seen him. Should have seen the other guy.
Yeah, should have seen the other guy. Pixel Hobo, exactly. It gets done faster. It's not time wasted. Or it's time not wasted. Yeah, exactly, man. It's just, you know, yeah. Kim, here in Norway, it is so much better to sit indoor, do painting, than go outside with a spray can at minus 20 in the winter. Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I've done that before where I've gotten a bunch of models done. It was winter time. I didn't have an airbrush, so I had rattle can. And I brought the models outside and spray primed, and then brought them in, and then had the models crack, like the paint, the primer crack, because the models contracted and then expanded, and the primer, as it dried, cracked as the model was re-expanding again. Or there was too much moisture or not enough or whatever, you know what I mean? Like there's all these variables.
Yeah, I've seen this happen with varnish.
Yeah, varnish too. Yeah, if you get like the temperature change, because plastic is real susceptible to getting cold and warm again, right? It changes shape. Same with the pewter. Well, everything changes. When it gets cold, everything contracts. When it gets warm, everything expands. It's just, you know, the nature of the planet we live on.
Oh, the laws of thermodynamics.
Yeah, I try not to get too eggheady about it, but yeah. I try not to be too big a fucking nerd about it, but you know. Thankfully, you went there for me.
to the lengths I will go.
Alrighty. Any oh jeez. Who dat? New follower. D Imp. Dr. Imp. Dr. Imp. There we go. Oh, Pat. Oh, he left. Dr. Imp, thanks for the imp. Or is it limp? Dr. Limp? Might be Dr. Limp. Close enough. Dr. Limp.
Oh, it's a demon with a doctorates. Although we need to go.
Or is it Duralimp? Duralimp? Fuck, I don't know. We were talking Russian earlier, and I was all that had me all fucked up. What was his name again on here? I mean, it was Killer Whale, but what was his handle?
Pizza.
Oh, Keto Pizza. No, it was Keto Itza. Fuck, I fucked it all up already. Keto Pizza. Keto Pizza. Keto Pizza. Pizza. It's like Caesar's Pizza.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sure Killer Whales right now is like, you fucking assholes.
Oh, here we are again. He's gonna come on.
He's gonna come on, you fucking dum-dums. It's pronounced like this. Alrighty, any last words of wisdom?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're not happy, if you think your paint jobs are shit, they're probably not. Someone else asshole has probably said something shit to you. Yeah. Be happy. You're all excellent painters. There you go.
There we go. Be happy. You're all excellent painters. Yeah, that's it. Right? Jeez Louise.
Nuts.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell these guys are talking about now. I don't know what's going on. Dr. Limp. Cruel Boy Summer, looking for ideas as building my guys. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, you might have to go back a little bit, Doctor, because the painting is... I'm done for the moment. I'm still only on the head of this big beastie. Oh, Hale. Yeah, I could join and sing. Yeah, you could. But no, I think I got a surprise coming up as far as theme songs. My son is going to help me out. So, yeah. And Kim, remember to shave your nuts. What? Shave my nuts. Fire Drake. And remember, nobody wins a headbutt. Exactly. Alrighty. I want to thank you guys for tuning in today and joining me on this stream. Thank you to all my patrons. Thank you for all the follows and subs and super chats and all that stuff. Yeah, I'll see you guys later. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your brushes. Take care of each other. I will see you guys later. Dun 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 dun. I'm gonna bring the mic up nice and close here so we get lots of bass. Everybody's wearing headphones. Dun 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 dun.